Hi there. I'm going to try to go through Chapter 4 Study Guide with algebraic equations and inequalities with you. Things we need to remember is most of the time when we have algebraic equations, we're going to have something plus or minus something with a variable, and it's going to equal something. So we have to remember there's like an additional amount here. There's something that is multiplied by something there, and then you have this equal sign, which means is, and this is usually a total. So I want you to kind of think about that. I mean, those are the kind of the pieces that we're looking for. When we're talking about inequalities, we're talking about these symbols like this, and sometimes they're greater than, sometimes they're less than, sometimes they're greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. And when we have solutions that have inequalities, we have to graph them on a number line. And when we graph them on a number line, let's say I had a 5, and the solution was x is greater than or equal to 5. I would draw a closed-in circle because it's greater than or it's equal to 5, and the solution x is greater than or equal to 5. And sometimes you'll have something like this. 7 is less than or equal to, let's just do less than x. So when you graph that, you would put your 7 right here, so my 7 is on my number line. Then I have to look and see the solution. The solution is x. X is actually greater than 7, or you could write it like this. I like to just look at where the x is, and I go backwards. And I say x is greater than 7, so open circle for greater than, x, here's the 7, x is greater than 7. And that can confuse some people because the arrow is pointing differently than this arrow. But that means x is greater than 7. So that's just kind of a recap of what we're basically thinking about with this, the inequalities and the equations. Okay, so here is question number 1 in the review. When I see an equation, I mean, the amount of times I've done these kind of problems, I like to just find that equal sign, and I see that line there, and I know that there's one side of the equation and the other side. I'm trying to isolate that variable. I'm trying to get that by itself. So I'm first going to undo this negative 7 or minus 7. The opposite of minus 7 is add 7, and we do that to both sides of the equation. So now this cancels out, and I'm left with 8m equals, and what is 17 plus 7? 24. Okay, now here's my m. It's multiplied by 8, so I'm going to divide by 8 on both sides. That's going to be 8 divided by 8, 1m, which is m, is equal, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. So the answer is m is equal to 3. I really like that yellow pen. I wonder if the green works good. Yeah, the green works good too. I'll try that out in the next slide. All right, here we go. Here's number 2. I'm going to start with the yellow. Here's my line. I noticed I have some fractions in this problem. And one of the math teachers taught you that if there's a 4 or a 2, there's fractions, you want to find the largest common denominator. And let's just multiply everything by 4 here, because that will get rid of that denominator. So if I multiply 4 times 4, I would get 16. If I multiply, I'm going to put minus 7/4 times 4, that would be 28 over 4, which is 7. So 16 minus 7x. And if I multiplied 1/2 times 4, or 4 over 1, that would be 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so this would be a 2. And now I have an easier equation to look at. So I'm looking at this equation. Here's my x right there, so I want to get rid of this 16. This is 16 is a positive 16, so the opposite of positive 16 is negative 16 on both sides. That would cancel out. I'm left with the negative 7x is equal to negative 14. Okay, now I still need to get this x by itself right here. So I'm going, it's a multiplication, that's holding it to the 7 to the x. So divide by negative 7, divide by negative 7, that's 1x, bring down that x, is equal to positive 2, because two negatives is a positive answer, and that's your final solution. Okay, so now I have another equation here, and what do I notice? Well, here, right here, is my equal sign. I'm using white this time. I do notice that there are some parentheses in this, which means I have to probably distribute this negative 5 to both pieces of that parentheses. So I'm going to rewrite it over. 5.4y minus 5y, and a negative times a negative is a positive 15. And that is where most people are going to make their mistake, with that positive 15 right there. Let me check my answers here. Yes. Okay. So now I'm noticing that I can combine this and this together. Why can I combine those together? Well, they both have y's, so they're both y's. So I'm going to do 5.4 minus 5. Let me just do this out down here. Erase. We'll X there. All right, so let's do that over here. So 5.4 minus 5. That's 0.4. So that's going to be 0.4y plus 15 equals a negative 1. Okay, here's my y, so I want to move this 15. Subtract 15 on both sides. That's an easy move. I could just get rid of those nice and easy because I'm doing the same operation on both sides of the equation. So now I have 0.4y equals, and a negative 1 and a negative 15 is a negative 16. Okay, I got another move here. I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide by 0.4, divide by 0.4. That turns that into a 1y equals, and now I have negative 16 divided by 0.4. It's going to be a negative answer. And I notice there's a decimal in the denominator. So what I could do, I'm going to just do that over here. If I have 16 divided by 0.4, I can multiply both at the top and the bottom of this fraction by 10. If I times this by 10, that's going to be 160. If I times this by 10, that'll give me 4. Now look what I have. 160 divided by 4. Well, I know that 16 divided by 4 is 4, and 160 divided by 4 would then be 40. So the answer to this would be negative 40. Okay, so now I'm looking at number 4. It's an equation. I see parentheses. So that means I can just distribute through those parentheses. Here's my line. All right, so that's going to be, I'm going to start here at the parentheses. 2p plus 16 minus 6p equals negative 28. So you just kind of find your starting spot with these problems, and and go from, what you know to do first, what you recognize first. Right now I'm recognizing I have a 2p minus a 6p. And I could put those and combine those together because they're both p's. So 2 minus 6, that's going to be a negative 4p plus 16. And I still have my negative 28 hanging out over on this side of the equation. So now I'm just going to get rid of the 16 and minus 16 on both sides. It's an easy move. I could do that, and that cancels that out over there. And a negative 28 and a negative 16, if I put those together, that's negative and more negative. That's going to be a negative 44. And that's going to equal negative 4p. All right, so now I'm down to the final step here. I'm going to divide by negative 4 on both sides. That'll be 1p equals, and a negative 44 divided by a negative 4, it's going to be a positive answer, and that's going to be a positive 11. So these should start to be getting easier to you. We've been doing these for a long time. You do the inverse operation on both sides of the equation. If you just keep doing that, you'll be fine. Just follow those steps. Remember, if you do it on both sides of the equation, you can't go wrong. All right, so I'm looking for my equal sign. I don't see one, but what I do see is an inequality symbol. It's going that way. Okay, same thing. You just follow the steps like we've been doing with the equations, except for this time we're dealing with an inequality sign. Well, the first thing we would do in this problem is I see this 7, I see this q, it's attached to the 9, so I'm going to go subtract 7 on both sides. That cancels that out. I'm left with 9, 9q is greater than, and if I put those two together, that'll be a negative 12. Okay. Well, I have a 9 times a q, so I'm going to divide by 9. Look how easy that is. 9 divided by 9. If I divide that down, that's just 1. And now the q is by itself. It's 1q. It's by itself is greater than negative 12 ninths. I could leave it like that if I like to look at fractions like that. I could reduce these both by dividing them both by 3. So q would be greater than negative 4 thirds. And if you really want to have some fun with it, you could turn this into a proper fraction. Q, that 3 goes into 4 one whole time with 1 left over out of the thirds, and that's negative. This could be an answer too. So you could use that as an answer. You could keep that as an answer, or you could keep this as an answer. It's just not reduced. But these right here, this, and this all mean the same thing. Okay, I'm looking for the equal sign, but I don't see one. But I see this symbol right here, the inequality symbol. That's greater than or equal to a symbol. That's the first thing I notice. The second thing I notice are these parentheses here, and I can go ahead and distribute that throughout to kind of simplify my problem. So this would be 14 plus 2x plus 5x. Right over there. Let's keep my inequality symbol and my 35. Now, do you remember, the only time we switch this inequality symbol right here, the only time we switch that to change it to go to this direction is if we multiply or divide by a negative. And we will alert you when that happens. All right, here we go. I noticed and I recognize that this 2x and this 5x can go together. That will give me 7x. And that's positive 7x, and there's a 14, and here's my inequality symbol, and here's a 35. And now I notice this 14 is by itself, this 7 is connected to the x, so I'm going to subtract that 14. That's easy to do. I could just cancel that out and get that the heck out of there. And 35 minus 14 is 21. And there's my inequality symbol, and this is a 7x. So far, so good. Okay, now I can get this x by itself now by just dividing by 7. Divide by 7, that's 1x greater than, equal to, and 21 divided by 7 is 3. Okay, so now this is where I was talking about the beginning of the video today. I was talking about if I had this, 3 is greater than or equal to x. I have to graph that on a number line. Here's a number line. I'm going to put that 3 right here. So again, notice I put the 3 right there. So now I have to look at the symbol. Is that going to be an open or a closed symbol? That's closed because there's a greater than and it's equal to also. So that's a closed symbol. Now I got to find that x. Here's an x. This x is less than 3. The solution, x, is less than 3. So here's my closed circle. The solution is less than 3. And that would be your graph. I could, if I wanted to switch it around, if I wanted to switch the order, I could go x is less than or equal to 3. I could put it that way. And that would still mean the same thing. X is less than 3. See how I point to that little point? That means it's small. X, the solution, is less than 3. The solution is less than 3. So that is another way to look at that. Okay, here's another one of those inequalities. Because I'm looking for an equal sign. I don't see it, so there's my inequality sign. Okay, not bad, but I'm noticing some fractions, and we learned how to clear the fractions. Find the largest denominator, which is 12. So I'm going to multiply each one of these fractions or pieces or terms by 12. So if I did 5/12 times 12 over 1, that would cancel out. That would give me a 5. And if I did 1/2 times 12 over 1, that would give me a 12 over 2. 12 divided by 2 is a 6, and it would stay in negative 6y. And there's my inequality symbol. And this 2/3, I'll just do this one up here. 12 over 1, that would give me a 12, that's 24 over 3. And if I divide that 24 divided by 3 is 8, so that would give me an 8. So now I have an easier equation to look at. So we used our fraction skills to simplify that equation to make it, or that inequality, to make it look a little easier. Okay, so now I'm just going to start with what I know to do. I see this 5 hanging out here. I'm going to subtract it on both sides because that will take that away. That's a positive 5 and negative 5. That goes away. Negative 6y is greater than or equal to 3. Positive 3. But the good thing about this, or the crazy thing about this, is I have to divide this by negative 6 on both sides. But, alert, 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 I can't divide negative inequalities. I have to switch the sign when I do that. So when you divide or multiply by a negative across the inequality, across the equal sign like that, you have to switch the sign. So, no problem. That turns into 1y. We switch the sign, and this is 3 over, or negative 3 over 6, which I can reduce that by dividing these both by 3. So y is less than or equal to 1/2. Negative 1/2. Now I have to draw that number line. There's my number line. Right here, it's going to be a negative 1/2. Okay, and I notice this is the symbol right here, so that would be a closed circle. And I see y, the solution, is less than or equal to 1/2, so smaller than 1/2 would go that way. That's not a very neat arrow. Let me fix that arrow. There you go. All right, so far so good. Just follow the steps, think it through. You got this. We could do this. Okay, we have a word problem. Uh-oh. That's okay. We're going to use equations. We're going to set up equations, And we're going to solve these problems. You can do this. We just got to think about what is the question asking. Let's read it. A family purchased tickets for a concert. They paid a total. Once you see what the total is, you know the total is going to be 90. That's the total. They paid 7 adult tickets and 12 tickets. So they bought adult tickets and they bought child tickets. And we know that those prices are going to be added together because the adult tickets plus the child tickets are going to equal a total of 90. So what do we know? Okay, we bought 7 adult tickets and we bought 12 child tickets. And the price of the child tickets was $4. And we don't know the price of the adult ticket, so there's our X. We don't know that. So how can we figure out, because they're asking how much was the adult ticket? Well, we know that if we bought 12 child tickets and they were $12 each, that would be 12 times 4. And 12 times 4, if I did my work over here, would be $48. So this is going to be $48 right here. And I'm going to add that to the adult tickets, but I bought 7 of them, but I don't know how many I bought. And that's going to equal 90. Well, look I have my two-step equation right there. Nice and easy. Well, here's my equal sign. Minus 48 minus 48. That goes away. Whew, so far, so good. 7x equals 90 minus 48, which is 42. And now I just divide by 7, straight up, nice and easy. That's going to be 1x equals 6. So now I got an answer. What does that answer mean? Well, x equals 6. How much was the price of the adult ticket? 6. So the adult ticket would be $6. Straight up. How much was the price of the adult ticket? $6. 6 times 7 is 42. If I put a 42 and plus 48, that should be 90. All right, let's go to the next one. I love these kind of problems. I love this. This is fun. This is getting into some geometry and some algebra together. This is cool. All right, here we go. The sum of the interior angle measures of a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. A quadrilateral is a four-sided figure. This here is 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. The sum of all these angles. So that means this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle. If I took all those angles and I add them up, it's going to equal 180. I'm sorry, 360. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to take angle. Let's look at it. We got angle P. We got angle S. We got angle R. And we have angle Q. And those are going to all add up for a sum. It says the sum is going to equal 360 degrees. Well, that's easy. Where's P? P is a B. And S is a 3B plus 10. And R is a 3B minus 19. And Q is a 2B. And that's all going to equal 360. And I'm running out of space, but who cares? It's fine. We could do this. Okay, so let's combine. Let's make it smaller. I got a B. I have a 3B. I have another 3B. And I have a 2B. Let's put all of those B's together to simplify and combine this equation. I got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 B's plus 10 and 19. That would be a negative 9. Is going to equal 360. So now, plus 9 on both sides. That goes away. I have a 9B equals 369. Last step. Divide by 9. Divide by 9. 1b equals, I'm going to write over here, b equals 369 divided by 9 is 41 degrees. So what does this answer mean? That means find the value of b. Look at b. Figured it out. We took all of these angles, measurements right there. You add them all up because they tell us the sum of all those interior angles is 360. PSRQ. PSRQ, put them all together. I just wrote down what the values are worth right there. Combine them all together. Solve my two-step equation. Bam, 41 degrees. Oh, I love these kind of problems too because it's averaging. And we know how to find an average of something. You add up all your pieces and then you divide them by how many there are. There's a trick to this, of course, but we can do this. Okay, Sophia has scored 18, 24, 32 points in her last 3 games. How many points must she score in the next game so that her 4-game average is at least 24 points? Okay, at least means it's got to be 24. It's got to equal 24, but it can also be more than 24. So I'm going to take out a piece of that equal sign, and whatever I put together here has got to be at least, whatever I put together over here, the average has to be at least equal to or bigger than 24 points. Can't be less than that, 24. Okay, so when you find the average of something, we have 4 things here. We have first game, second game, third game, fourth game. We add those all up, and then we divide them by 4. And that's got to be greater than or equal to 24. So, what was the first game? 18 plus 24 plus 32 plus, I don't know the last game, so I'm going to put an X there. And I'm going to divide all this by 4, and it's got to be greater than and equal to 24. Okay, so now just add those up. Well, let's just find my equal. Here's my equal sign first. There's my equation sign. 18 plus 24 plus 32 is going to be 74 plus x divided by 4 is going to be greater than or equal to 24. So, what do we do here? Hold on a second. I think I want to move. Wait, that little piece won't move. Okay, so I'll just go back to this. All right. This divided by 4, let's get rid of that by timesing it by 4 over 1 on both sides, or times 4. So that cancels out. That leaves me with 74 plus x is greater than or equal to 24 times 4, which is 96. What do we do now? Subtract 74 on both sides. Subtract 74. That goes away. X is greater than or equal to 96 minus 74, 22. So what does that mean? That means how many points must she score in the next game? She must score more than, greater than, or equal to 22 points to average at least 24 points a game. Not so bad. Okay, popcorn question. Here we go. I could think of this a couple different ways. Let's read the question. It says, for a fundraising activity, the student council rented a popcorn machine for 1 day for $50. They plan to sell the popcorn for $1.50 per bag. I'm gonna start right here. $1.50 per bag. $1.50 for a bag. X is gonna be the bag. Okay, and it costs 50 cents to produce 1 bag of popcorn. So how much are we spending so far? We're spending $50 for sure for the 1 day. And then we're also spending 50 cents for 1 bag of popcorn. The problem is that's 50% per bag. We don't know how many bags, okay? So let's look at what we got. I got $1.50. That's if I sell, this is how much I'm going to sell. And this is going to be where my profit side is. And the profit has to be more than what we spent. This is how much we're spending. And this is how much we're going to sell to try to get a profit. Hey, look. I have an equation right there. Because this is how much money I'm spending per bag, but this is how much money I'm going to make per bag. This is my profit. This is how much I spent. Okay. I have an equation. Let's see what happens here. So $1.50 per bag is greater than the $50 I'm going to spend to rent the machine, and then my 50 cents per bag that I got to spend. And I put that per bag right there. Here's my inequality symbol. Okay, oh, look at this. Wait, this is a little nutty here. I noticed there's an X. There is an X on this side of the equation, and there's an X on that side of the equation. Well, I know if I do the opposite operation on both sides of the equation, I can start to combine some of these. Let's combine these X's. I'm just going to go minus 50x minus 0.50x. And that leaves me with $1 per bag is greater than that $50 I spent there. Okay. I still have x here. I'm going to divide by $1. Divide by $1. So the x, the profit, this is the profit, P-R-O-F-I-T, is going to be greater. 50 divided by $1 is going to be 50. 50. The profit is going to be greater than 50. Okay. So what is the 50 bags? I think that's what is the least number of bags of popcorn they could sell? So I have to sell at least 50 bags. Well, that wouldn't make a profit. 50 bags would not be a profit. I'd have to actually sell more than 50. So I would have to sell at least 51 bags in order to make a profit. So what do I sell? The bags, I have to sell more than 50. Okay. Next problem. Okay, you have $20 to spend on taxi fare. The ride costs $5 and plus $2.50 per mile. Let M represent the number of miles ridden. So we have to use M as our variable. I'm going to circle that a little bit better. Okay, M is our variable. $2.50 per mile. Well, that's easy. It costs $5, and that's how much part of it's going to cost, and it's going to cost $2.50 M. That means per mile. And let's see. You have 20, and I have $20 that I have to spend. So this amount that I'm spending right here, that amount has to be less than or equal to $20 because that's all I have. I can't spend any more than $20. All right, so this would be the inequality. I'm going to rewrite it again. The inequality would be $5 plus $2.50M less than or equal to $20. Whatever I spend here has to have less than or equal to $20. That's all I have. So what is the maximum whole number of miles that I could ride for $20? So I'm trying to figure out what this M is, the maximum number of miles here. Easy. Let's solve this equation. First move, subtract 5. That goes away. I got 250M less than equal to 15. Ooh, I have decimals here. Let's turn these into, let's see, this could be simplified. I could turn this into 2.5m. I don't have to put that 0 on there. That's a little bit easier to look at, but I still see that decimal. Let's times this by 10 and times this by 10. That would give me, I move that over once, that would give me 25m is less than or equal to 150. Oh, that looks easier to work with because it's 25 and 150. That's like dealing with money. Divide by 25. Divide by 25. That's 1m less than or equal. $150 divided by quarters into quarters. That would give me 6 quarters or 6 right there. Okay. I'm just trying to think about it like that. Okay. So what does that answer mean? I got an answer. M is less than, so the M is the miles, have to be less than 6. So what's the maximum whole number of miles? So I have to ride less than or equal to 6 miles. So the answer is 6 miles. What is the maximum whole number of miles I could ride for 20 bucks? I could go 6 miles. That's it. For 20 bucks. Not very far. That'd be like from here, from shore to maybe the mall. 5 miles. Not that far. For 20 bucks. Psst. Heck, get on your bike. All right, last question. Here we go. We got this. Samantha rented a car for $35 a day, plus a one-time charge of $16 for insurance. That's easy. Per day, $35. It's going to be $35 per day, plus a one-time charge of 16 bucks. Okay, now, here's what just by looking at that, this is the equation I got. Does anything here match up over here? Let's see. Right here. That matches up. So if D represents the number of days right there for which the car is rented, which equation represents the total cost? Okay, so that would equal the total. So equals C, the rental. Oh, there, that was easy. So 35D plus 16 equals the C. Or I could say the cost equals 35D plus 16. It's got to be D. Final answer. Okay, so that was like a snippet of all the things we've done the last basically 2 weeks. And if you could just remember, like some of these equations, these two-step equations look like something like a number, 52. All right, it's not reading neatly. Hold on a second. A number like 52 times something plus, let's say, another amount, additional amount, 7. It's going to equal a total. If you think of it like that, you know, we got this piece that's going to be multiplied by something. An additional amount will equal a total. That's what that equation looks like. And then when you think about averaging, we know that averaging, you take a number plus another number plus another number, and we would divide this by 3 because there's 3, and that will equal your average. So just trying to think of some of the structure of what some of these equations look like. If you got that symbol right there, you know that that would be a filled in dot. If I put an X here and a 9 here, and I wanted to put a number line, I would put my 9 under there, and I would find my X, and I'd go this way. X is greater than 9. Greater than 9 goes that way. Or if you'd like to flip your inequalities, just write in the exact, like there's like a mirror here. Put the X on this side of the mirror, flip it. X is greater than 9. X, this is the X. The arrow is representing the solution. X is greater than 9. All right, that's a quick sum up of Chapter 4 study guide. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep studying. You got this.